Here for case 20 SU18 has been pulled. Most likely will be heard next month, or we'll just keep you updated kind of on the will of the petitioner. Otherwise, I think for right now, what we're going to do, because I don't think we're going to get a full crowd, we'll just let everybody stay in here, and when it's your turn as the petitioner to go up and speak, please do, and then when it's time for the public, again, we'll notify the public that it's their turn to, their opportunity to speak, and we'll just have you guys go up. Just please try to keep social distancing in mind, but should we get filled, what we'll do is I may just ask those individuals that if they're not here for that case that's being heard at that time, probably escort everyone back.
Welcome to the July meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Go ahead and call the roll.
Dina Ori.
Here.
Gina Driscoll. Here. Ed Zaski. Here. Mike Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Need to approve the minutes from last month.
I can approve those minutes, or
Motion.
I motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you. Need a second? Yeah. Second that. I believe it was Ed. Okay, first case tonight, 20 SU14, petition of Roy Source of Source Enterprises for special use to allow for the establishment of a recreational cannabis dispensary at property located at 1501 North Main Street. That's PIN 1127100005. Roy, I assume you're going to speak? Yes. Why don't you just step on up? I know who you are. Why don't you identify yourself to the people here?
Sure. My name is Roy Source with Source Enterprises.
Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm here asking you for support for a possible dispensary located at the East Peoria address, 1501 North Main Street. I do not currently own that location. However, I am looking, if I'm lucky enough to win the license, I would like to represent the local business community. As why I'm asking for your support. East Peoria is only allowing 3 dispensary locations at this point in time. Right now, one is owned by NewMed, and there are no other applications out there. However, because I am local, and because there are other applicants that may win licenses at a different time, I'm asking that I possibly be the only one approved tonight, so that other individuals from the East Peoria location or Tri-County area can represent this location or this area itself. I'm asking you to allow this tonight, and I do apologize for not asking my neighbors for support ahead of time in case there's any concerns about that. But as I had stated, I have not won the license yet. I'm just doing this so that East Peoria is represented, whether they be businesses, whether they be local residents, as opposed to just out of town or out of state individuals. I thank you for your support tonight, and does anyone have any questions?
Parking situation?
The parking situation, I believe you have a map I drew up. The gentlemen that own the property there, we've pretty much divided it up and felt there's enough for 11 parking spaces, plus 3 handicap spaces, the oversized type locations, plus employee parking in the rear. They are willing to regrade that property. If you've been there, I'm sure you have seen it. They're looking to put a different tie wall in the back and shore up that with tires, I guess, that are currently there, and some of the other riprap that they put in. They did not, the prior owners have, so they want to make the location look much nicer. And we intend on going in and also grading that a little bit better and making it more usable and accessible for individuals that might visit that location.
Okay, you think that'll handle the volume that you anticipate?
I believe that the initial rush is over. I think right now there is a demand for the product. I think with additional dispensary locations in East Peoria, I don't think you're going to have the initial boom we had in January and February. I know sales are up and sales are strong, but also with the COVID situation, there's a lot less limited traffic going through in different areas. With a stoplight being there and there's an access road, it's not blocking traffic that I would be aware of.
Okay, Gina, you got any questions?
I really have no questions, more just, I guess, an opinion and a philosophy is that intersection maybe isn't dangerous right now just because of the low volume of businesses and homes around there. But I do know that there are accidents, and I think it could potentially become a very dangerous intersection, not just because of the nature of the business, but just with the increased traffic volume. So if East Peoria is allowed 3 licenses, there's nothing I can change about that, but I'm really not supporting that location that close and on a main thoroughfare. I kind of feel like Main Street and Washington are where all these, I guess since I've joined the board, I feel like that's all I'm doing is approving or recommending for stuff on Washington and Main, and we don't seem to be pulling in maybe the right kind of businesses that I'd like to see on those 2 main thoroughfares. So I have no questions. That's just my feeling.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
Okay. I can appreciate your opinion. I have no qualms about looking elsewhere for a different location if that does arise. It's more so that I'm once again interested in making sure that East Peoria residents are supported in East Peoria. And that's why I'm here. There are limited locations available that would be accessible and fit those guidelines that you currently have. That location has to be owned by someone that I know, and it would, I would work and do everything I could to make sure that the neighbors and the traffic flow is as accommodating as possible. So.
Okay, how about Mike, you got any questions?
Yes, I do, Mr. Source. You indicated that you're going to grade the parking lot, you're going to blacktop the whole parking lot, is that correct?
I currently don't own the property.
If you was to buy the property, or you're going to rent the property?
If we're lucky enough to win the license, we will be doing, yes, some significant work to the parking lot.
So you would be renting that building, or you would be owning the building?
We haven't determined that yet right now because I've just got a temporary, we'll call it lease on the building.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, I like Gina have some concerns, particularly because I walked the area, I walked the side of the building and the back of the building, and I saw where you're talking about the large part in the back, which is a lower level, and they've got a steel wall set up, and they've basically got, it looks like a loading dock from the other side to the back part of that building. However, I don't really think that the area is large enough to be able to maintain the vehicles that may be coming in and out of that particular property. If in fact you're able to successfully get this, I mean, for sure, because it says the building is approximately 165 foot long by 40 feet. So if you was to extend the parking lot itself from the front of the building all the way to the back, you're going to have at least 165 foot long parking about somewhere in the area of at least 38 to 40 feet in depth, because you got to have stacking as far as cars being able to pull in, and then cars to be able to back out and have room to be able to pull back out the entrance and exit. because that would only be one. And I too, with the access into the highway there, I think that there's a real potential problem. So I'm sorry, but I don't really agree that this is an ideal location for that. And that's basically my reasons for it. So
I can appreciate that. Okay.
How about Ed?
Yes, I'm here. Anyway, yeah, I live right across the street from it, actually, 1426 North Main Street. And pretty much across the street, a block or two difference. I'm kind of concerned a little bit about the access area that's there. So I'm just a little concerned about yeah, I can't see it when it's done because it's a sketch that's laid out and I can't tell, but how many acres is it?
I'm sorry, I don't know. Let's see here what it says.
I look on here. Didn't see the acreage on here. Might be wrong. Doo-doo-doo.
I'm not sure where the exact property lines are. I know there was parking on the, on the lower part of that also. They were willing to grade and put employee park in the lower level there. But I'm not sure of the total acreage there.
Yeah, because there's a steep drop off there too, isn't there?
Right.
I did, without having something laid out that has dimensions, it's hard to tell what it is.
The total property is .72 acres.
What's that?
It's .72 acres.
Oh, .72.
Thank you.
It's about less than 3/4. Okay, well, I've got no more questions.
All right, thank you. Did you have something you want to enter into that? All right. All right, we'll go on to case 20, SU 50. Oh, okay. Was there anybody here that wanted to speak either for or against the petitioner? If so, more than one of you, step up one at a time. Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. My name is Dr. Ray Ramirez. I live at 108 Ottawa Court in East Peoria, and I own a veterinary practice at 1122 North Main Street in East Peoria.
Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
So help me God.
Go ahead.
So a couple of things that I'd like to address the Zoning Board of Appeals about is just in general with the recreational cannabis. If there's a couple of medical facts that I think are relevant and community facts. When we think of a word association with some of the following communities, what things come to mind? It's likely the businesses and activities that they have going on. So when you think of Eureka, Bloomington, Clinton, Decatur, different things pop into your head. Locally, when you think of Morton or Dunlap, Chillicothe. The PJ Journal Star and many other media outlets have had every decision on CBD and marijuana that East Peoria has made on the front page of their paper, as well as other Facebook and social media outlets. Similar votes and decisions on this topic made by Washington, Morton, Pekin, and other communities have either been buried in the back of their section of the paper or not received any mention on the television media. So East Peoria has been working hard in the business community. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce and an ambassador on the Chamber to build a reputation for retail in the Levy District, even with the COVID-19 restrictions. And so do we want our focus to be on retail and the Levy Districts, or do we want to be known as the CBD or recreational marijuana hub for the region? I've got other medical things, and I realize that's probably beyond the scope here. Also, as you were talking about the access to the particular location here, So my practice at 1122 North Main Street has access off of the highway, very similar to that access street there. And I know, talking to previous people who lived here before the Shell station was put in, and other high traffic with the restaurant and bar there, Fifth Quarter, the traffic there is very difficult to navigate during those high traffic times. I don't know what an accident count type of thing is, but I can tell you that at certain times of the day, it is very challenging to navigate that, even if you're not going into the Paradise side of that intersection. So I just encourage the board to consider, what do we want East Peoria to be known for? Your decision on these topics will have a lasting effect on our community. Please consider these long-term effects, which are greater than the short-term tax dollar increase. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there someone else that wanted to speak? Yeah, come on up, please.
Normally I'd get dressed up to make a public appearance, but I was busy today, and
Yeah, please introduce
bibs
yourself.
is what you get.
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Do you
Swear me in?
Yeah.
I swear.
Identify yourself, please.
Greg Neal, 930 North Main Street, East Peoria.
All right, go ahead.
And this is reference to case 20 SU 15, right? Just to make sure we're on the same page.
It's 14, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Well, as Doc Ramirez was talking, he was addressing from the standpoint of case B on the docket.
They're both in
So-
the same area. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I said they're both in the same area, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah, well, for the reasons that were just previously assigned, I'm going to use my regular voice instead of the muffled. The traffic is terrible, and on our little access road, we've got two entrances, as you know, two access road 2 and access road 3, and anytime you come out of you want to go up and use the light at access road 3, you get people coming out of the Shell station or the Burger King, and they pull right in front of you. Every morning, it's the same thing, in afternoon, whatever. They don't look, there's no stop sign there. The proximity of the address in question here is such that it would just compound that situation, something terrible, not to mention the increase in traffic on the frontage road. If you're not familiar with the layout of those driveways, we all live on a hill. We come down the hill, and sometimes in the wintertime it's slick, you know, and there might be traffic coming up and down the frontage road at a high rate of speed. It could cause an accident. That increased traffic volume would not make that situation any better. And honestly, like Dr. Ramirez just mentioned, the people that patronize that business, it's an addictive sort of business that we've got gambling, we've got liquor in 2 locations on that road already. About the last thing we need is another vice that complicates our lifestyle in our residential neighborhood. We don't like it. We feel it's getting shoved down our throat. This is the second time we've had to come here and defend ourselves against this onslaught. I eat down at the Texas Roadhouse. I see the people that patronize the location the way it is. Honestly, I don't want them for neighbors. And that's pretty much all I got to say.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks for hearing me.
Is there anyone else? Hearing none, we'll go on to case SU 15, which is what he was discussing. Petition of Keith McGinnis. Oh, did someone else want to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see an arm. Okay, You're on case SU 14, right?
Yes,
Okay, the
15, SU 15. I'm
Yeah,
Keith,
we're not
I'm
on
Keith
that yet.
McGinnis.
We're not on that yet. Oh,
Yes,
see,
you are.
there's someone else? Oh, okay, okay. Case 20, SU 15, petition of Keith McGinnis of New Med, East Peoria LLC for a special use to allow for the establishment of recreational cannabis dispensary on property located at 1050 to 1090 North Main Street, PIN 1128-401010. Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Good evening. Keith McGinnis.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, so help you, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing us to appear here this evening. As we've heard a little bit already, New Med, which we are the owners of. Toby Clayton is with me. He's a general manager, a lifelong resident of Tazewell County. And he serves as general manager and agent in charge for our existing medical and adult use recreational store. We're asking for permission to open our second license facility. We already have a license for it. We are under contract with the folks at the stated address to purchase the building if we're awarded the license to be able to operate at that address. Just going to address a couple of your concerns I've already heard from the previous. We have 43 parking spots there, for one. The building's 12,000 square feet. From a traffic standpoint, we would not open until 10 a.m., so peak hours have already passed by then. Exit at nighttime will be anywhere late as 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, so we'd avoid some of the traffic issues. We have extensive studies on what it actually does to the traffic. We have extensive studies of what it does for local businesses around the area, and we're happy to share those with you at any given time that you would ask for them. But I'm here to entertain any questions that you might have.
So you're going to use the whole building for your business?
What we plan on doing is probably starting out with 7,000 square feet of it, and we may turn the other part into an apparel part as well, or rent it out or lease it out to another interesting business. One thing to bring up there, in a dispensary environment, different from a cultivation where they actually grow it, there's not the smell out there, so it'll still serve as a business for anyone that wants to get in there. We've already had inquiries from doctors' offices and such that they move in there as well.
So you're aware that this location was previously denied by this board?
That was prior to me, I believe, Mr. Ori.
Yes. There was a strong concern from the neighborhood going into that area. Questions, Mike?
Well, as Mr. McGinnis says, as you've already heard, some of the concerns, and I too have concerns even with this location. Be it that you have more parking spaces is one thing, but you are indicated that you're going to use about 7,000 square feet of the building to begin with. You could rent out the other, and not knowing exactly what you're going to rent that other space out to, it could definitely increase the use of that parking lot. One or two cars more per spot, depending on the in and out activity of whatever the business is during the given hours that business would be open. You indicated the years would be open around 10 a.m., closed between 6 and 7 o'clock at night, which would be, of course, after a lot of the people get off work. But I do have some of the same issues that with the Burger King traffic there and the Shell gas station, and then the other business and bar that's up at the other end of that service road, all funneling into that intersection and right across the street from the Paradise. I, for one, do not believe that that is an ideal location for your business. I'm sure you have an idea roughly what your in and out traffic is now in the existing business you're at down by I believe, Texas Roadhouse, and what is that? I mean, how many, what do you figure on an hourly basis as far as cars in and out?
Well, that's a great question, sir, because first of all, we're serving both medical patients at that facility as well as adult use. We only have 12 assigned parking places. 12 assigned parking places at that facility, and we are seeing as many between 250 and 300 customers a day come through there. Now, expanding that to 43 places, what will really take place here is some of the medical patients, because we can't serve medical over at the new building as well, medical has to stay where it is. We can't transfer both over. Medical will stay, as well as adult use at 504 Riverside, and only adult use will be used at the new location.
Okay. It was mentioned earlier that there's only 3 licenses for the city of East Peoria. So if you already have one now, then this building would be your second, and then Mr. Source would be taking up the third. Is that correct? And that would take up the 3 licenses for this area. Is that correct?
Well, when NewMed won the medical license, and then it went to adult use, because the amount of investment that was originally put into the program, the state allowed those that had won a medical license to automatically get another adult use license. So I have license in hand already. I don't have to wait to be awarded. I already have a license. And the reason for that is we are awarded a medical license in the district that we're in. We're allowed the adult use new license to stay in the same district.
Okay. Well, my major concerns is the traffic flow, that intersection across from the Paradise. Even though the building is capable of probably taking care of what you're trying to do with it, again, if you lease out part of the other building, as you indicated, not knowing what that particular business may be, and the influx of traffic in and out of that building, whether it be very little or very large, that increases the traffic that much more. And along the corridor through there, I don't know that it's really a fitting location for this particular dispensary. So that's where I'm at with it. Thank you for answering your question, sir.
Thank you.
No, I don't have any questions.
Gina?
So, Mr. McGinnis, did you seek approval or input from what would be your potential new neighbors before this?
What we have done is taken a study what putting in a recreational license has done to neighborhoods, and it's actually increased the value of homes in the area. And one of the reasons for that is we are heavily secured based on regulations from the state that we must have security in place at all times, and we do. Makes people feel a lot safer. So going to a Burger King, I think a Burger King would probably love the idea of a store next to them for different reasons. And other than that, I haven't gone over to the boat, or I haven't gone to the hotels, but anywhere else that we are. We also have places already open in the city of Chicago and the city of Urbana. And we haven't had 0 issues with neighbors in any terms.
So your answer to my question is no.
No.
Okay. Is it possible for you to move within the district to a larger location? So I understand that you can't really move the medical part of NewMed from where it is now because it has to stay within a district. Could you move everything to a larger location within the district?
No, the medical has to stay where it is. State law has not allowed anyone to move their medical license yet.
Okay, so the district isn't necessarily anything larger than exactly that address where it is now?
Right.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Is there anyone out there that wants to speak either for or against the petitioner? Step right up. Please identify yourself.
Good evening, I'm Ryan Soltz with Boyd Gaming Corporation. I'll take the oath now, sir.
All right. He promised to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, I want to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to speak here tonight. Obviously, you have these two special use permits in front of you, and I didn't speak to the earlier one because you have in your packets, I'd sent over some comments. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it tonight, frankly, with some other activity that's going on. But I wanted to kind of walk everyone through, I think some of the issues have been raised by many of the members of the ZBA tonight. Our concerns are really come down to a handful of issues. One, cannabis is still a Schedule I controlled substance under federal law. It means it is illegal under federal law. It is a cash-only business. As a cash-only business, as Mr. McGinnis said, yes, they do have to have security, but that doesn't mean that there are not issues. I think everyone's familiar with some of the incidents that took course last month. There were over 40 dispensaries throughout the United States that were, pardon me, I gotta breathe, that were ransacked or looted in not only major metropolitan areas like Chicago and Boston and San Francisco, but even a dispensary in tiny Anna, Illinois, was broken into and had product stolen from it in early June. There is a very, very real public safety concern. The traffic has been spoken about. I think an IDOT study showed that the traffic count on Main Street between I-74 and the Paradise was just under 29,000 cars. Back in 2018, I believe, was when that count took place. You're going to increase more traffic in the area. Heard the neighbors loud and clear that they have concerns about traffic. That's a very real issue for us. And then finally, there's an issue concerning parking, and I heard Mr. McGinnis say he has 43 spots. Mr. Source is maybe 14. Granted, there's a greater distance between Mr. Source's proposed site and our property compared to Mr. McGinnis's. But when you look at the largest, nearest parking lot across the street from the one at 1050 to 1090 North Main, it's our hotel parking lot. And what we're concerned about is people deciding that it's a hassle to get in and out of traffic, park in our hotel parking lot and take spaces away from our guests, interfere with the right of us to use our property as we see fit, and then decide to cross traffic because it's easier somehow to try to beat the light across the street and grab their product and take it back to their car. This creates a host of public safety issues. It adversely impacts our business, a business that we've invested a lot of money in. In fact, we're very proud of the investment that we just opened last September. And when we look at all those things and we try to determine future investment in a particular area, we have 29 properties throughout the country. We have grave concerns about how this could adversely impact the future investment and our return on investment, or increase operational costs because while we have a lot of security today, do we have to add more security to patrol the parking lot and things like that? For those reasons, we would urge you not to approve the special use permits that you have in front of you tonight related to the dispensaries along the corridor near the Paradise. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak? Sure, go. We got one more, then you can come up.
Good evening.
Okay, identify yourself, please.
My name is Cindy Neal. I'm a resident at 930 North Main Street, East
930
Peoria.
North Main, okay. Raise your hand, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. Mine is as a resident of the neighborhood, just some things to consider. When the Interstate 74 project was completed, I don't know, there's a small turn lane to get on Access Road 2 as you're heading north on North Main Street. Where they cut the curbs in, there's barely enough room for 2 cars, and when traffic gets back to normal, you cannot get out of that intersection. So I'm concerned about that. The access road that parallels 116 in our neighborhood is actually not really wide enough for 2 cars. As you take the curve by Burger King, you really have to get onto the grass on the edge of the street. So something we might need to consider to have a business like that is to expand the street there. At the traffic light at Blackjack Boulevard and Main Street, it is a little congested, and trying to manage that traffic light even, cars get backed up there without the increased traffic of a parking lot at that business. Of course, as was mentioned before, we all live on the hillside. In the wintertime, in spite of our best efforts to clean up our driveways, I know I've slid down the hill on ice and went right out into the street. With increased traffic, there's opportunities for accidents there as well. One of the good things about the neighborhood is many of the houses nearby have been sold. We've got new young couples. There are lots more children. As we came here tonight, there was a gentleman walking a dog, but there are no sidewalks, and there's an older woman who walks up and down the street for exercise. Again, at night, and even now, there's potential with that narrow road for accidents and injuries. A couple things I do envision happening, because this is a recreational facility, and we're masked by a tree line that parallels 116. So unless we take out those trees so that there's some visibility as to what's happening on that street, I could potentially see someone who had made a purchase meeting someone who's underage to make a deal and provide, just like underage alcohol. There's a good place to mask that sort of thing happening. And I think that was it. I'm not in favor of that. I'd like to keep the neighborhood a neighborhood. There are things I think if you approved that would really need to be considered so that the neighborhood stayed safe. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Keith, you want to speak again?
Keith McGinnis, NewMed. One thing I forgot to mention here is at the facility that we're already in operation with, the city of East Peoria collects a 3% sales tax, which I believe the first payment comes in July from the state. If we move over to the other place and we're allowed to, they get another 3% sales tax bump on that, right? If we move outside the city of East Peoria, which we can on the second location, there would be no 3% tax.
All right.
Thank you.
Roy, you want to speak also? Step right up.
I appreciate you hearing me again. As much as I'd like to see my application approved, I understand your concerns, and my major concern was approving out of the area businesses or companies to move in here. As much as I'd like to see mine approved, if it's not approved, I'm understanding about that, but I'd be more disappointed to see the NewMed location approved based on all these negative comments I've heard and the fact that they're not a local company. They're located in Ottawa and out of Chicago. All those funds, those tax dollars will be coming in, whether it's my dispensary or someone else's dispensary moving in. Those tax dollars come in at any point in time. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, anybody else? Okay. Doctor, step right up.
Do I need to re-swear?
You're already sworn in.
Okay, I assume so. I just wanted to address something that Mr. McGinnis mentioned, and especially the gentleman from Paradise, that the marijuana and CBD is a Class 1 controlled substance, which means someone like myself who's a licensed veterinarian who has a controlled substance license actually cannot prescribe that medication because it has no known legal benefit. Human doctors have that same restriction on them unless they have a special use permit, of which the last time I checked in Illinois, there were only 2 medical doctors who had that for research purposes only. So that is something that most doctors stay very far away from in that avenue. I just wanted to address that since it was mentioned that medical doctors may be interested in also renting from the building that had the the recreational cannabis facility potentially.
All right, good point, thank you. Is there one more back there? No?
I think we've got one more back here.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman back in the back.
Yeah.
Sure.
John Goddard, 960 North Main.
Yeah, would you raise your right hand? Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
So-
What was that address, 9 what?
960 North Main.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Greg and Cindy's neighbor. So I oppose, of course, to this petition of a marijuana dispensary 2 doors down from my house for the reason of I have a small child. My neighbor, which is right next door to 1030 North Main, has a small child. And we're, of course, right on the border of state guidelines where you have customers coming out of New Med potentially and their children present. So if those people would be using or be tempted to light up right there, they would immediately be in violation of state guidelines. And of course, I agree with all the other points. Everyone did such a good job. I'm not going to go over all the other points, so,
I appreciate that.
okay?
All right.
Thank you.
One more time? Go ahead.
And speaking basically towards the veterinarian, to make everyone aware, at our current facility, approximately 30 to 40% of our patients are cancer patients. Peoria, city of Peoria, is a large cancer hospital, we know. There are a number of doctors over there that acknowledge and recommend that they use medical marijuana. It's many, many doctors in the state of Illinois. Like I said, we have places in Urbana. At first, Carl Clinic was very hesitant. Now Carl Clinic's not hesitant. They approve it. Chicago, very slow to approve from the medical standpoint, but there's plenty of doctors in Chicago that approve it as well. There are benefits to it. Thank you.
All right. That about everybody? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our next case. That would be 20 SU 16, petition of Tony Pham of TC Cab Services LLC for special use to allow for the outdoor storage of vehicles associated with business located at 2250 East Washington Street. That's PIN 1134206-006. Tony here?
I don't believe he's here.
Huh?
I don't believe he's here.
He's not here. Okay, so we'll just table this, is that right? Or dismiss it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can table it for a future meeting.
All right. Do we need to do anything other than,
We could vote to table.
okay.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to table 20 SU 16 until further time that the individual would be here to present his case.
Second? All in favor? You second that, Ed? All right. All right, good.
That's either Ed or Gina.
Sure, okay, we got 4. We're
Okay.
good.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to move on to case, are you ready, Ty?
Yeah.
We're going to move on to case 20V17, petition of Jeff Getz for a 4-foot side yard rear setback variance for an accessory structure to be placed on property located at 332B Avondale Drive. That's PIN 1126206-007. And you're Jeff.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Jeff
Yeah, raise
Getz.
your right hand, so I'm swear to
Yes, sir.
tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Born, raised in residence of East Peoria all our life. My wife, Lisa, and I have no intentions of moving from East Peoria. I'm requesting your consideration for a 4-foot variance that will allow us the footprint of suitable size to construct a 12 by 20 detached garage on the southeast corner of the lot. As our lives change and families grows, we are in need of an additional garage to protect our property from weather as well as for security purposes. The construction of the detached garage will be a major investment which will boost the home and our property's value. The new structure would be built with quality construction and materials designed to match our existing home. Plans will include replacing the overhead garage door on the existing home to match the new garage door on the constructed detached garage to all look and flow as they were built together. With such a peculiar layout of our property, we have no other suitable option. And we thank you for your consideration tonight.
All right. How about the neighbors? Have you talked to them? Any problems?
There is no neighbors to the rear. The neighbor to that southeast side, I'll be happy to talk to him. I'm sure he would have no problem with it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. How about Ed? Any questions?
Let's see here. No, I'm okay with it, thanks. Nope, all right,
All right. Gina?
no questions.
So your address is 332B. Is 332A the property that sits closer to Avondale?
That's correct.
In front of you?
So I'm the only home in that entire subdivision on a shared drive.
That's what I thought, okay. I don't think 332A could even see your garage from their house,
No.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay.
How about Mike?
Mr. Getz, I went and looked at your layout and your property, and I'm assuming with the information you provided us, because I could see your red line that you drew on the colored print, and I'm assuming where your car was kind of, or your truck, excuse me, your truck was parked there this afternoon, kind of like on an angle, that in that corner is where you're talking about building that detached garage, is that correct? In the very back
If there was
corner?
anything parked there, it would have been my wife's car.
Well, there was a little gray car.
Yep.
And there was a
Oh,
white
okay.
Ford
Yes.
pickup truck. I was there
Yes, I
about-
didn't have my truck backed into the garage. That was between work and then coming to this
Yeah.
meeting. Yes, so it'd be back where that gray car was in that back.
So you're gonna, because the ground that goes back is not really a large distance there. That 20-foot, I'm assuming you're gonna move it, you're gonna start the back of the garage just about where the ground, where you've got the landscaping and the steps that go down to your hot tub. The back of that's gonna be about where the back of the garage is gonna be, then it's gonna come forward. So are you gonna be able to get into your other garage,
Yes, it would be beyond.
close to the fence?
Correct.
Close to the fence? and-
Close to the fence, and then it'd be beyond the existing garage.
So it's gonna be 20-foot long in
Correct.
depth?
Yes.
12 feet wide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also have a larger building on the back side of your house, as you would come into your driveway off to the right.
Correct.
What's called the front of your house.
Yep.
So is that like a machine shed or something? down
Yeah,
there?
I call it my shop. It's a 420 square foot building. I keep my riding mowers in there, my tools, snow blowers, and basically I call it my shop. It's a little man cave shop.
Okay.
I considered that for an additional garage and building onto that, but with an additional third vehicle now in our home, we'd have to drive across the front lawn. And
Well, that's what I wondered, access-wise. how you
yeah,
get
it's just
in there.
not practical, and I'm very particular of my lawn to the home, and try to keep it pristine as possible.
And I noticed that, and I want to compliment you, that your house and the whole area.
Thank you very
does look
much.
very nice.
Appreciate it.
And,
We're proud of it.
I could tell that.
Thank you.
I could tell that.
Thank you very much.
So then the facade and the finish of the garage itself, it would be a wood-constructed, stick-built
Yes.
garage?
Correct.
And then you're gonna put a new door on that and also replace the existing door on your existing garage to have the doors match.
Correct, exactly.
And that's gonna be a double wide door too.
Yes. Well, the door on the proposed garage would be a 10-foot wide by 8-foot high. But yeah, the one on the existing home is 16-foot wide. And
Yeah.
yes, they would match.
Okay, okay. And you're planning on doing this yet this year,
Yes, correct.
timing-wise?
Before snow flies.
Right.
Depends when you get done.
And I'm assuming you're gonna take care in putting in particularly your footings on the back sides because of how that ground drops out fairly quickly.
That's correct, yep.
So
You
that
bet.
you got a good foundation underneath it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I don't have any other questions. I think from looking at your placement and your place in general, I don't see any other way you could do it. The only other thing I thought was, well, you could put it out there by your tree line, just as you first come in your drive and put
Yeah,
it right, but
I'd hate to
it's
do
not-
that though, yeah.
It would be a headache.
Take
yeah.
away from the view we have. yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you all.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Anyone that wants to speak either for or against the petition or? Okay, hearing none.
Our petitioner for case 16 has shown up. He was in the foyer. Our petitioner for case 16 is here.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Pham, he was out in the foyer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you want to hear that case now, or you want to wait till the end. It's up to you.
Yeah, why don't we just go on to the, we'll go on to 19 and then go back.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get to you next.
Case 20 SU 19, petition of Janet Walker to allow for the placement of an accessory structure, carport, with a non-traditional facade on property located at 133 Putnam Street. That's 10-1134, 113-009. You're Janet?
Yes, I am.
Raise your right hand, please. I'll insert to tell the truth and the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm wanting to put up a carport in front of my garage at 133 Putnam.
Okay. Why do we want to put a carport up there?
Because I have, first of all, my garage is way in the back, so anytime it's in the winter, it's really far for your car to come up to the house. The carport's 12 by 21, so it brings it 21 feet closer to my home, for one. For two, I have a sister that's living there now, and so we have an extra vehicle.
So you'd have to drive through the carport to get into the garage? Is that-
Well, no, actually, my sister is using my garage as a storage unit because she moved here from Seattle. She's going through battling cancer, and she moved with a 2-bedroom home, and I live in a little 1-bedroom home. So all her stuff is, we're using the garage as a storage unit at the moment.
Yeah, carports aren't normally considered normal to put in front of the garage. There's no way of adding to the garage?
Well, the way the property is, it's only like 10 feet from the back fence. If I go to the right of the garage, there's another little building there. I'd have to remove that building to bring out the garage.
Okay, question, Gina?
So Janet, I'm looking at the pictures and I can see where, and I've driven by several times, I can see where there's the beginning of a carport in front of the garage that's not finished.
Correct.
And not covered. Where is this then? Where is?
That's where in the property where I bought it at. It was on Craigslist. That was
That's the
original-
purchase.
Yeah, purchase picture.
I got you.
That was before I actually bought it, that I sent the pictures to the guy. But my problem at the point was there was like 20 other people that wanted it, so I had to buy it right then and there. Then I had nowhere to put it 21 by 12, so I went ahead and put it up, hoping I can have it. If not, then I'm gonna have to take it down and sell it. So the new one is already up. I mean, that is now already up at my property.
Gotcha. So you have the framing for the carport, the garage, and another little shed kind of in the backyard against the fence. Is that correct?
Well-
I tried to drive around back to see it from the backside, and I didn't really get any view at all. So I guess that's why,
Right.
just trying to picture, you've got the house.
There's a garage, yeah, the house is here, and then the garage is kind of to the left there, and then to the right, it's actually a little kid's house that I built years ago, 10 years
Gotcha.
ago or so.
And then the structure, the frame for the carport's in front of the garage?
Yes.
Okay, I saw everything then. Okay, cool. That's all questions I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Mike?
I want to ask about the building. As you know, I was there this afternoon and looked at this situation, Mrs. Walker. The long, narrow building that you have off to the, alongside the fence, that looks like a storage shed. Is that correct? Because you said something about a playhouse or whatever, but it looks like it's fairly long.
Yeah, the long thing, that's the garage. The smaller building, it's only a 7-foot by 10-foot, that's off to the right.
That's what I'm talking about, on the south side of your garage. I mean, I know what your
Yes.
garage, where your garage is
Okay,
and
yeah.
where the carport is.
What was your question?
I'm asking about the building that is along, to south of the garage, alongside the backyard of your fence, and it's got a cantilever roof like this,
Yes,
and it looks like it's about 5 or 6 feet wide, and I assume that that's a storage shed building there?
it was originally a little kid's playhouse, but now it is storage, yes.
Okay, and that's about 10 or 15 feet long,
No, it's 7 foot by 10.
7 by 10, okay. At what point did you, because you have added on to the existing garage, before the carport, you have a garage in the back that has a steel roof.
Yes,
And then you constructed a garage in front of it that looks like it's about 20 foot long or so, or 16 foot long and 20 foot wide, somewhere in that. I didn't measure it, but it's close to that, I believe.
correct.
And it's got the tieback on it, but it's not finished. At what stage did you build that section of garage on to add to the other existing garage?
You say when?
Yeah, did you do it 3, 4 years, 5
No,
years ago,
it's
or what?
just about 2.5, 3 months ago.
Okay, 3 months ago, all right. So is your
We're still-
intent to finish the siding and the facade on that particular garage to match up with everything else?
Yes, we got the siding, we just have not gotten it on yet.
Okay. Well, because of your layout and with the carport there, I don't believe that the carport blends in the neighborhood with everything else that is in that area. I would be okay with you adding on to that garage if you built more of that garage and come out towards the front. Your fence and gate that you have set up right now is about even with the back of your house. That carport, I didn't measure it, but I'm pretty good on measurements. It is about 2 feet from the back edge of your corner of your house to the first post of that carport. And you indicated a couple minutes ago when you first walked up that you said that carport was 21 foot long, I believe, is what I think I wrote down.
Yeah, it's 12 by 21.
12 by 21, okay. So I guess my point is that if you was to add on to the constructed add-on garage that you already built, and you built another, say, 16 feet out towards the street, but you gotta have enough room to be able to get into your backyard, because if you build it out too close, then you have no way of getting around your garage because it's so close to the edge of your house.
Right.
And I would much favor something in that basis as opposed to leaving that carport there. I cannot agree with the use of the carport in that area because it's not compatible with anything else in that area, in the neighborhood. And I believe it detracts from the neighborhood with the use of
Even though
that.
it sits back that far and you can't see it from the
It
road?
doesn't matter, even though it sits back that far. Your garage sits back quite a ways, but having the garage finished in a, what do I say, aesthetic manner in terms of not just under construction, because it could sit under construction for 2 years or 3 years if we approve this, and it could still be that way, even though the carport's there, it's just sitting there. So, no, I don't believe that I can approve that having the, or at least my recommendation would be to not have the carport there. I would and be in favor, and I know we're talking some money to do this, but if you need more space to be able to not only use your garage as storage, but to be able to get a car and stuff in there, and the little train that you had out there, and the other vehicle that you had sitting there behind the fence, then you could add on to the garage coming out this way and still give yourself enough room to be able to get into the backyard. With the advice of a contractor to help you lay it out, I believe that would be the most workable way of doing this. That's basically what I have to comment on this.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Ed? No questions, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone that wants to speak either for or against the petitioner? Hearing none, we're going to go back to case 20, SU 16, petition of Tony Pham of TC Cab Services LLC for special use to allow for the outdoor storage of vehicles associated with the business located at 2250 East Washington Street. That's PN 1134206-006. Tony, yeah, step right up. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, all the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Go ahead, tell us what's going on.
Yes, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tony Pham, and I'm here to be asking a favor of all of you. Allow us to, run the business, help a lot of people with this kind of economic situation. But for this kind of approval, so I understand the city want us to make it look clean, neat, and respectfully to another business, and I respectfully for that. I do as the city asking me to do to make the plan, clean up the parking lot, and even I asking my worker to do the strike or the parking lot and cut down the tree, behind the building. That's all. That's all I do. Whatever the city expect us to do, and I do the best I can. But beside that, I don't know what else I can done. So we just run the business for the U-Haul and the taxi service,
Okay,
and
the
we don't.
taxi service, how many cabs do you have?
I have so far 7. So
7?
yes, and I plan to increase next couple months. I plan to increase more cab, so more business for the city. More job for the people. So, but beside that, I need approval from the city allow me to park more
So
car.
You're going to go 7, maybe what, to 10 or 15 or?
I plan to go for 12. Yes.
12 is what you're planning?
Correct, sir.
Okay.
Correct,
And
sir.
then the rental units, what about them?
The rental unit, I will be run around about 25 to 27. That's an estimate we allowed to have in the parking lot. But we're not staying there 25 or 27 at all time because the 24/7 business, we in and out. So that means we move the renting truck from another town, come to our parking lot, stay overnight. The next morning, the customer come pick it up, and they rent out. So that means we estimate 25 to 27 renting truck our parking lot, but it's so far it's only maybe about 10 or 15 the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know U-Haul has a business not too far from you. Is that, how does that work?
So I'm a businessman, so I don't allow my worker try to destroy another business.
No, I mean, I'm saying U-Haul allows you to so many units, is that it? Or-
No, so actually U-Haul unlimited, whatever we can,
So you're just in competition with the guy down the street?
we don't. I don't competition with no one. And I even know Bob, actually in the past.
No, I'm just curious why. they-
No, we don't do that. I'm honest to you, and I don't like to be able to try to competition with another business, so I don't do that, so, yes.
Okay, so how many parking spaces do you have there?
We have about, I calculate, in my knowledge, I calculate about 4 times, and we have 45 space. Yep.
Okay, the vehicles, the U-Haul vehicles, are you doing the big trucks or the smaller trucks?
We have different kind. We have a van and
22-footers?
10-foot truck and 16-foot truck and the trawler. Yeah.
And the smaller trailers?
Yes, Ram trawler, yes.
And the car haulers, you do those too?
I'm sorry.
The car haulers, the little trailers for cars?
Yes, correct. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we will.
Mike, any questions?
I'm sure you said you calculate 45 parking spaces. Well, I was there today and I looked at them and I counted the parking spaces and I numbered them off. And I come up with 39 parking spaces total. That's what's striped.
Okay.
And one of those is the handicap parking space. And of course, taking into consideration the 39 parking spaces, you have to allow so many for customers to park when they come in to rent your vehicles. You have to
Mike.
allow so many for your, sorry about that.
That's right.
So many parking spaces for your cabs, which you indicated 7. I counted 4 cabs there this afternoon, 4 cabs. One was sitting out towards the street, and the other 3 were alongside the building by the entranceway. So if you go up to increase of 12 cabs right there, and that gives you about, let's say, 20 spaces to work with, because you got 20 and 12 with your cabs, that's 32, and you got, I come up with 39 spaces, you got to have at least 5 or 6 for customers. They can't be all having vehicles parked in them. And you had, currently this afternoon, you had 4 trailers there, and I'm assuming the trailers move in and out sometimes. And the bigger trucks, what is the largest truck that you normally rent out or would have on that parking lot? What is the largest size?
The largest size we rented out is like 16-foot long.
So you don't rent out the larger 26 or 28 footers?
That one is rarely to have, but if we have the reservation from the traffic people asking us to go find the truck that's big for the customer, we will, but we cannot guarantee we will have the truck in the parking lot. We recommend to the customer go to this location, like example, we have the location next to us, and if they have that, we recommend the customer go in that location, but we cannot have that in parking lot because we cannot have a truck like that.
Well,
Yes.
it's going to take up a lot of extra space.
Yeah.
Is your plan to have some of those trucks sitting along the outside parking spot along the road? Because there, alongside the road, you have 9 spots on one side and then 4 on the other, close to your entranceway.
I guess you correct. I maybe count 10, but you may correct about 9. So yeah, the other one is 4. Yes, and this one you say 9. I count 10. I
Here's
don't
your
know.
sign.
Yes.
Here's the entrance, and this is the, well, I'm gonna say the east side entrance to that parking lot. There were 4 parking spaces there, and there's your sign.
Yes.
And there was 9 parking spaces.
Oh, that's only
The
9? I
right
counted
van
10. I don't know.
sitting
Yes.
On that corner.
Okay.
Of the other entrance right there. And so, I would assume that you're gonna have most of your cabs sitting out there as opposed to your trucks, because if you have trucks sitting out there, unless they're the vans, which you did have a couple of U-Haul vans sitting there, the larger trucks are gonna take up more parking space, and their in and out traffic coming into that parking lot is gonna be restricted more. So what I'm saying to you is that in the letter information that we received, you're indicating that you wanted to be able to, you're petitioning for 30 vehicles at one time. I believe that that's about at least 10 vehicles too many. So I could go along with 20 vehicles in that lot, a maximum of 25, but in that 25 would be trailers and/or trucks combination. It would not be 25 trucks and then some trailers, because the trailers are going to take up some of them spaces too. Whether they're a small trailer or the car hauling trailer that you had a box trailer there. So, and the fact that you only have one handicap parking space, and you have to provide at least, I only saw one, and there's only a sign for one. There was a sign for one handicap parking space. A handicap parking space is 16 foot wide by ADA compliance. It's cross-hatched off. Now, unless there's a vehicle parked in one of them, I missed it, but I only come up with one at a time. And I forget what the ADA requirement is on that many parking spaces, but I think you're okay with just the one, as long as you provide at least one parking by the entranceway to the door. It can't be on the other side of the lot or anything like that. It has to be accessible by ADA standards. So, in terms of, again, the paperwork that was provided to us in the packet, I would recommend, in terms of recommendation, that it would be a maximum of 20 to 25 vehicles, a combination of trailers and/or cars, trucks, vehicles, whatever the case may be. Because you also have to consider your cabs and your customer parking. The other issue is that, talking about cleaning up the place, you have a lot of grass area out in front of the building that really needs to have some landscaping taken care of. I believe that in terms of the city, that in the landscaping site plan, that there has to be at least 150 points of landscaping, be it junipers or trees, or this is something you'd have to work out with Ty and Glenn on this, and some areas of just making it a little bit more appealing. And I'm assuming you're going to do something with the sign, as far as putting up a sign and fixing the sign, so it's not just a steel structure there with an open area as it is now. Is that correct?
I agree. I totally agree with you. We already did all construction. I believe it. You came on the other day. That's not finished the construction of the business side or the clean up in the yard, whatever it is. So, but right now, if you can go in there and you see even the parking, the handicap parking, we have 2 space. And
well, I was there this afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon?
This afternoon, about 3:30. And like I said, it's very possible that I may have missed one, and
Yes.
I'm saying possibly a car was in the way or whatever. But, I did look at it, and these are just my observations. Okay?
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Good.
Come on, Ed.
I'm okay. How about Gina?
I guess really no questions for Mr. Pham. For my opinion and philosophy is, I haven't been on this board very long. The previous U-Haul ZBA item that we had for the other location down the street had already been approved, so when we voted on it last time, it was more just trying to tweak the plan and ask that they put up a fence, which hasn't been done. I'm not really thrilled with Main Street and Washington Street being used for car repair, U-Haul, businesses that, if I was your neighbor and I owned a successful restaurant or something else, and I wanted to maybe continue to have people come to my restaurant, and it, well, now it's down Washington Street, oh yeah, it's next to the U-Haul place and whatever. So I guess going forward, I feel like I'm not so sure I'm going to be supporting businesses on our main thoroughfares that really could be located somewhere else. In East Peoria, I think if I'm in the market for a U-Haul trailer, I can look it up and I can find the U-Haul lot, business, whether it's on Cole Hollow or Main Street. I don't think it has to be on Washington to, to have business and be successful. So, no questions, sir. Thank you for answering Michael's questions, but that's all.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone speak for or against the petitioner? If hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Does anybody need a break? You okay? All right, let's go on. Okay, for deliberations, going back to case 20 SU 14, petition of Roy Source for special use to allow the establishment of a recreational cannabis dispensary. And we'll go through the fact sheets first.
Get your mic on. Get your mic, your mic
Yeah.
needs to be closer.
Oh, not loud enough?
Yeah.
Will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, comforts, or general welfare?
Yes.
That was a yes? Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, you gotta speak into
Number
the,
one, yes or no?
speak into the mic. We can't hear back here.
Yes.
Speak in the mic.
Where'd you go?
I said, speak in the mic. Which one you want, for one?
Yes.
I'd say it's, yes.
Okay. Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the use or enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinities for uses permitted in the district?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values
Yes.
Yes.
within the surrounding neighborhoods?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Will the establishment and proposed special use permit impede the ordered development or improvements of surrounding properties for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
Yes.
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 Or have adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities been provided?
I'd say no.
No.
No?
No?
Nope.
Or have adequate measures been taken to provide ingress and egress for the site, minimizing traffic congestion and hazards on public streets?
No.
No.
No. Will the proposed special use permit conform to other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
Say no.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, based upon our deliberation, I would make a motion that the special use for this case, SU 14, be denied.
Recommended to council for,
Recommended from the council that it be denied.
I'll second that motion.
call the roll. When ready.
Gino Ori,
Yes.
Ed Zasky,
Yes.
Mike Kelly,
Yes.
Gina Driscoll,
Yes.
all voting in favor.
Moving on to case 20, SU 15, petition of Keith McGinnis of New Medford, East Peoria, for a special use to allow the establishment of recreational cannabis dispensary on property located at 1050 to 1090 Main Street. Will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, comforts, and general welfare?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the uses or enjoyments of other properties in the immediate vicinities for uses permitted in the district?
Yes.
Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the establishment of the proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvements of surrounding properties for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
Yes.
Or have adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities been provided?
I'd say no.
No. Or have adequate measures been taken to provide ingress and egress from the site, minimizing traffic congestion, hazards on public streets?
No.
Will the proposed special use conform to all applicable regulations of the zoning district?
No.
Questions or proposals or motions?
Mr. Chairman, based upon our deliberations, I would make a motion, recommendation to council that this be, SU 15 be denied.
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll when ready.
Dino Ori,
Yes.
Ed Zasky,
Yes.
Mike Kelly,
Yes.
Gina Driscoll.
Yes.
Case 20, SU 16, petition of Tony Pham of TC Cab Services LLC for special use to allow for the outdoor storage of vehicles associated with business located at 2250 East Washington Street. Any questions? Will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comforts, or general welfare?
No.
I don't know.
No.
No.
No? Okay. Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the uses or enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinities for uses permitted in the district?
No.
No.
No?
Yes.
Close enough?
Did she say yes?
I said yes.
Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
No.
Yes.
I said no.
I said no.
2 noes and three noes and a yes. Okay, will the establishment of proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvements of surrounding properties for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
No.
No.
No. Or have adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities to be provided?
Yes.
That's a yes. Or have adequate measures been taken to provide ingress and egress from the site, minimizing traffic congestions and hazards on public streets?
Yes.
Yes.
will the proposed special use permit conform to other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, based upon the deliberations, I would make a motion to make a motion to recommendation to council that the special use permit be approved with these following recommendations. That not more than a maximum of 25 U-Haul vehicles, a combination of trucks and/or trailers, at any time be permitted on the lot, with no large trucks being parked in the front of the building out next to the street. Now, that could include the vans or cabs, but not the large U-Haul trucks. That the owners submit a revised landscaping plan showing at least 150 points to be installed no later than October 1st of this year. And that a bond or letter of credit sufficient to cover the cost of the landscaping and its installation needs to be provided prior to the city council's review of the case.
Second
Hold it.
it. Oh, sorry.
He wants 7 to 12 spaces for car parking. Are you going to include that?
Well, okay, he indicated that he's going to have 7 cabs right now. I counted 39 parking spaces. So we're talking about 20 of those spaces being taken up for trucks and/or trailer combinations completely as far as the U-Haul part of it. Then it would be 7 to 12. If he expands to 12, that's 32. And I come up with 39. Now, if there's 2 handicap spots, now he said 45, but I don't believe there's 45 there, but if there's 39 and I missed one of the handicaps, so that really
You're okay
means
with
that
12
there are
spots.
37 parking spaces plus 2. 2 of those are handicap parking spaces, which only handicap vehicles that are approved by ADA license tags are able to park there. So that's why I'm saying a maximum of 25, because if you got 25 and then up to 12 cabs, that's 32 right there. So you still got room for the 2 handicaps, that's 34. And if I come up with 39, that's 5 for customers. And I can't imagine that there'd be more than 5 customers in there at any one given time.
Where do the employees go?
Pardon me?
Where do the employees go?
Yeah.
Well, the employees, which is a good point, and there is some space around back, but then I don't know, how many employees are usually at the building at any one given time?
Most of my employees, sir, when they start to come and work, our cab driver on the daytimes will be come pick them up, and then when they shift changing, the other cab driver will take them home. So there's no parking for employee. Most of my employees don't own the car.
Okay.
Yes, and then the customer, I'm sorry to interrupt you, the customer come and park the rental truck. Normally, they don't park their car on my parking lot. They have their wife or their spouse or their family member come with them, and they rent a truck, they take it, and they go, and their member will be take their car and go. So I tried to explain to you early, but since you move on, so I respect you. I'm not interrupt you, but for me, it's no customer will park in our parking lot. You maybe see the car, that's one of my employees, my manager guy parking there, but the customer, I don't see no customer park in my parking lot. And I understand that, and I respect your say it's totally respectfully by the rule, but no customer will park my parking lot, and my employee is not own the car. So we provide them a transportation when they go to work. And when they off the work, we take them home. But like I said, I don't see why we have so much space for calculate in the planning for the customer and my workers.
And you basically answered part of what I was saying, that even if a customer comes, they're still going to use a parking space for the time being to rent the vehicle or pick it up. So there has to be a parking space for them to park their car there. And with what I'm recommending as far as the number of vehicles that you can park on that lot being a maximum of 25 U-Haul vehicles, trucks and trailer combinations, you indicated that you would expand your cabs from 7 to possibly 12. That's down the road. So if you add that 20 and 12, that's 32 right there. You have 2 parking spaces for handicaps, which would be, in most cases, a customer, because unless your cab drivers are handicapped or whatever, and if they are, they shouldn't be driving. So you have those 2 usable spaces there. And then, as I mentioned, I come up with 39 spaces, so that's 5 more additional. So you've got the leeway. So I'm not arguing that part of it and not really putting any other stipulation on, other than the fact that I don't want to see 30 or 40 trucks in that parking lot, because no one wants to see that driving down Washington Street. And so I'm trying to come up with a happy medium as far as my recommendation goes. That's works with you and also keeps the city happy too.
Oh.
And the city folks that drive by there.
I totally agree with you, sir, and I respect that. And like I said, we cannot have 25, like you estimate 25, but you won't see 25 in the parking lot because.
So then you got the space, you got maximum spaces to be able to do that if you need it.
Right, and as a matter of fact, we don't have that kind of truck in the parking lot because we cannot find. Even the U-Haul company corporation give us allowed to unlimited to asset more truck in the parking lot, but we cannot find because the traffic people cannot give us those kind of amount of truck. They say, okay, Tony, can you send a people come and pick this truck at this location? But when we call them, they say, oh, they already ran out of truck. So we cannot. So that's why we estimate, like you estimate 25 for us. I appreciate that. We can take whatever you can give us 25, but you won't see 25 in the parking lot. So
okay,
yeah, because in and out, like I said, and also we cannot find the 25 totally the number in the parking lot. We cannot find that. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think it will be a workable location. Clean it up, put the landscaping in, make it look nice, presentable, a good-looking business, and I think you'll do well with it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And I'll second it. Let's move on. You can come back here later.
You come up with that, Ty, if you need any questions or.
You can come back here later and say.
Good. Did we?
Let me read that back. So I have not more than 25 U-Haul vehicles / trailers on the site at a time, no large box trucks in front of the building, a new landscaping plan to be submitted showing at least 150 points along with a bond or letter of credit to cover the cost of materials and installation to be installed by October 1, 2020. Did I miss anything?
No, that sounds good. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. So who seconds that?
I did.
Ed seconded that.
Ed's got the second.
Ready for a roll call?
Ready whenever you're ready.
Dina Ori,
Yes.
Ed Zosky,
Yes.
Mike Kelly,
Yes.
Gina Driscoll.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on.
There you go.
18. What was that, 16? We're on 17?
17.
17.
Okay, case 20, V17, petition of Jeff Getz for a 4-foot side yard rear yard setback variance for an accessory structure to be in place on property located at 332B Avondale Drive. Will a significant hardship result to the owner if the strict letter of the regulations are carried out, given the particular physical surrounding shape, topography, conditions on the property?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Is it inconvenient to the property owner to follow regulations of the ordinance?
Yes.
I only heard one.
Yes.
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 Yeah, everybody said yes.
Is the variance requested based on uniqueness of the property?
Yes.
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 Is the variance based exclusively on the desire to make more money out of the property?
No.
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 Will the variance be injurious to the other properties or improvements in their neighborhood?
No.
No.
Has the alleged difficulty or hardship been created by any persons presently having an interest in the property and thus self-imposed?
No.
No.
Will the proposed variance impair the adequate supply of light and air to adjacent properties?
No.
Will the proposed variance increase congestion on public streets?
No.
No.
Will the proposed variance create additional traffic safety problems?
No.
Will the proposed variance increase danger of fire to adjacent structures?
No.
Will
No.
the proposed variance substantially diminish or impair property values within an immediate neighborhood?
No.
No.
Will the variance be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, comforts, or general welfare?
No.
No.
And would the variance request generally be applicable to other properties within the immediate area?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, based upon our deliberation, I would make a motion that the request for the variance of V17 be approved and sent to council.
it doesn't need to be sent to council. Need a second?
I'll second that.
Tina Horry,
Yes.
Ed Zosky,
Yes.
Mike Kelly,
Yes.
Gina Driscoll.
Yes.
All voting in favor. So the variance, that's it. You're approved, and you can come in and get your permit as soon as you submitted plans to Joe.
Okay.
Case 20 SU 19, petition of Janet Walker to allow for the placement of an accessory structure, a carport with a non-traditional facade on property located at 133 Putnam Street. Will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, comforts, or general welfare?
I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Will the
Yes.
Will the special use permit be injurious to the uses or enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinities for uses permitted in the district?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the proposed special use diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the establishment of the proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvements of surrounding properties for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
Yes.
Yes.
Have adequate utilities, access, roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities been provided?
No.
Well, adequate utility access roads, and that's already there, so I say yes, it is.
Yep.
And
I go yes also. Or have adequate measures to be taken to provide ingress and egress for the site, minimizing traffic congestions and hazards on public streets.
Yes,
Yes.
Will the proposed special use permit conform to other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
no,
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, based upon our deliberation, I would make a motion, excuse me, that the special use 19 be denied.
Recommended to council.
And that recommendation going to council. However, I would make a recommendation that if the owner could work out with the staff, meaning Ty and Glenn, that if they could come to an amicable agreement on working and building out the garage, I assume that that still would require special use. Is that correct, Ty, or not?
I don't know that the addition of the garage would, I don't see Glenn out there. I know that they had talked about that option with the building inspector.
Well.
So I think it's more
What I'm
cost
asking
driven.
is, with the way the garage is built now, and remove the carport, but as I mentioned in my deliberation earlier about building out that garage, bringing it out further to the street, some 15-foot distance or so, still giving them adequate access to the backyard. Does that additional 15-foot or so that would have to be added on to what is already there now, would require a special use down the road or not?
We need to take a look at it. Was it considered an expansion of an existing non-conforming use, then it would require ZBA action. We'll take a look at it. I don't know that we looked very closely at it because that was dismissed pretty quickly because of the additional cost. But we can take a look at it and see. But if it is an expansion of an existing non-conforming use, then it would require ZBA action in the
That's why I wondered,
future.
because it would be in the non-conforming area, but I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But I cannot agree with keeping the carport there.
The recommendation is to recommend not.
To deny the request.
Yeah,
to keep
deny the
carport
request.
there.
Second.
Yeah.
Recommendation for denial was the second from Ed.
Roll call. Dina Horry,
Yes.
Ed Zosky,
Yes.
Mike Kelly,
Yes.
Gina Driscoll.
Yes.
That concludes our session for tonight. Is there any additional business?
Yeah. So, Mrs. Walker, nothing against you, but like I said, if you can work with Ty and Glenn and come up with something that would be a little bit more, because it's still going to be a non-conforming use no matter how you do it. But the carport issue, in terms of in front of that existing garage, doesn't really work.
Is that something new, or is that been on there?
Relatively
Okay.
Okay, does anybody want to address the ZBA on a non-agenda item? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
I can second that motion.
Thank you. Aye,
Aye.
adjourned.